This is Tiho and the Arcane Bear. We're going to be going over, many of you guys have asked really, how will CME futures affect the Ethereum price? And I've gone over this in previous videos, but I think it's important to highlight, and we're going to go over that today. So let's dive in. We'll just get straight to the point here. We're going to start by actually looking at the CME futures page. So on my page right now, you can say defining Ether risk management. Now, I want to start off by saying something I think that is very important. First off, let's just cut to the chase. I think this is actually a bullish moment for Ethereum. Now, I also believe we could see some temporary downside. We'll get into the technicals for that. I believe we saw some of that today. If you watch our previous videos, been calling for this around 1530, sniped into it beautifully. But the reason why defining Ether risk management is important is to understand that there are people that have hundreds of millions of dollars of Ethereum right now. So for them, CME futures doesn't just act as a way to go, oh, I'm going to go short Ethereum. It allows them to open up positions that protect the spot position that they have. So more so than just going short, let's say you had $100 million in Ethereum. You're like, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out a $100,000 insurance position, basically, to cover just in case. And I'm going to go short here, just in case things go south. Now, often these bigger players will use futures and options trading, especially, although this is not CME options, it's futures. It can be used as insurance to cover your position to the downside, because if for some reason Ethereum all of a sudden started to drop, they would have a short position that covered their $100 million position, and they don't mind maybe losing a $100,000 position to protect that $100 million position. So it's really important to remember that. We might see a temporary downside because of people protecting their accounts, but more importantly, this is also going to give the big players, people like Renaissance, Medallion, which is Jim Simmons' fund, the most successful hedge fund ever, the ability to enter into this sector. So for those of you that don't know, Jim Simmons, the Renaissance Medallion fund, Bitcoin, they entered into, okay, so I'll just quickly go over this. So for those of you that don't know, Jim Simmons is the most successful trader ever. He made $22.6 billion, and Renaissance manages almost $180 billion in total. So Renaissance joined, and their Medallion fund dipped its toes into Bitcoin, specifically in the futures, the CME. This is one of the only ways that they are able to trade it because they move so much money and they're looking for alpha in US dollars, not in Bitcoin. So Ethereum futures now provides huge players, the biggest, right? You look at people like, oh, they're Warren Buffett. Yeah, Warren Buffett didn't make anywhere near as much as Jim Simmons. Neither did Ray Dalio or George Soros. They all paled in comparison to what Jim Simmons did. So please recognize when Renaissance moves, it is the biggest fund ever in history, period. Okay, say that again. Biggest hedge fund in history ever, period. They showed up here in April and they only play with CME futures. So they would likely take positions that cover both the up and the downside. But right now we're seeing liquidity crisis in Ethereum. And we've gone over this. So right now I'm looking at Glassnode data. So Glassnode data provides us a really unique insights for how much of the open supply of Ethereum is currently on the exchanges. And back here in 2017, during the peak out of the bull market, you could see how much of Ethereum was open on exchanges, only 6% at the very peak. If we measure it today, we're just starting the bull market. Now, one of the unique features about gas fees, I could make some argument against, or for maybe, is that people are less likely to use the Ethereum at that point, again, creating the liquidity crisis itself. But on a much shorter time frame, what we can see here is we scroll into 2020 and we kind of remove the 2017 data and focus just specifically on the last few months. You can see a decline in the open Ethereum on the exchanges. And this is extremely important because Ether futures has to settle in cash at the end of every trading day, and that's only 5 days out of the week. So futures doesn't operate on Saturdays and Sundays, and they have pre-market and aftermarket, but again, it's not the same as the crypto sector. So you see these kind of differentiations in the overall trading capacity of both Ethereum and Bitcoin, Bitcoin because of the futures markets themselves. Ultimately, back in 2017, when the futures opened on Bitcoin and it went to the downside, it's because there is no way to protect your account. So people that had tens or hundreds of millions of dollars in Bitcoin at that point went, well, great, I can take out a very small insurance position of maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars and just go short, still hold all my Bitcoin and be protected for the downside. You got to remember that these options to produce more exotic plays are really protection for the people that manage hedge funds and know how to play the game. For a lot of you that are retail investors, this looks like, oh my God, is this going to go down? Look what happened to Bitcoin in 2017. But no, this is much different. Again, remember, the interest of these players is to actually make more alpha. And right now, as we can see on Glassnode, we are still declining in the amount of Ethereum on the open market. This means that the likelihood of it going up is extremely high. So the secondary effect here, you guys, we've been charting this since yesterday. We hit our backup phase quite beautifully. You can go back and watch the last 2 days' videos. I suspected we'd come down to around 1530. We hit 1494 in a wick. We hit the body at 1548. And again, we can make a little bit of conjecture on why that was. For those of you that are in the private group, I went over this, that I thought this was the primary support, and I made a mistake of drawing this as the primary support yesterday, which is why we had that wick down to around 1494, in my opinion. But as you can see, the body stayed at 1530 almost perfectly, and we've already started to rise back up. I think what we're about to see here in Ethereum is a nice kind of elongated backup phase, very similar to what we saw in Aave. So here in Aave, if you cut out the data of where we are now and we focus just on this trading range, when you got to the top of the trading range, you came back into the main area of support, which effectively, again, if we scroll in here, will be the point of control for this trading range here. Bam, right around 296 in those previous charts for Aave. For Ethereum, that currently could go as low as, well, again, it could go as low as 1400. Let's see. Yeah, around here, 1450. We could see a spring down here. So if you watch yesterday's video, this is kind of how I analyzed the drawing. You'd see an automatic rally, the support, maybe a quick spring like this, your bounce up, your the start of your SOS, your backup, and then going to $2,600 real freaking fast. So I think that this first shakeout that we saw this morning is just the fact that people were asking, oh my God, is Ethereum going to go down? No one really asked, is Ethereum going to go up? And that's the more likely answer, that this actually creates positive momentum in Ethereum, even though it's going to be driven by a short-term, likely downward spring because of these bigger players who have hundreds of millions of dollars just simply protecting their account. They literally do not care to throw $100,000 straight into the garbage to protect $100 million in assets. So that's why it says Ethereum on the futures defining risk management, because this allows a new exotic option for those people who have massive amounts of Ethereum at spot price and they want to protect their account to the downside. So again, it says expand your choices for managing cryptocurrency risk, right? With CME Ether futures, developed by the leading, most diverse and regulated derivatives marketplace, home to Bitcoin futures and options. Wait, hold on. Bitcoin's futures and options? Did I miss this? Okay, even more importantly then, what you need to understand is that this allows the bigger players to ensure their spot positions because they're providing options as well, not just futures leverage trading. This is hugely important. Hugely important. Please remember that this is going to be a positive, in my opinion, because of the way these bigger players know how to use both futures and options contracts to protect their account. And again, that's going to likely create a temporary down, which will be our spring, nothing we haven't expected, before we start to go absolutely ballistic. I think when we go to $2,600, it's basically going to be one candle wick up. It's just going to go straight to $2,600 out of this backup phase. I have basically stood by this assertion all the way back since we were at $1,000. I kept being like, guys, this is like the spring here. I think we're going to $2,600 real fast. The problem is you got to wait for your SOS, you got to wait for your backup phase. You have to wait for multiple events within of your trading range before it does those screamy moves that we've seen in the past. So that's basically my short take on Ethereum futures. Again, crazy to see Doge right now up, breaking into new all-time highs. That's a different conversation. That'll probably be tomorrow's video. And we'll be going live on Instagram. So if you guys haven't yet, please go and follow us on Instagram. We'll be going live with a fantastic woman named Morgan.codes. So if you haven't yet, go and follow her. We're going to be talking about Dogecoin. She's a software engineer and much smarter at development than I am. And she was asking me, why do people like Doge? I'm like, okay, well, look, just think about it for a second. Free choice money doesn't have to be technologically backed or the same opportunity opportunities. It's the fact that you get to choose your own money. So I'm really looking forward to the conversation. If you haven't yet, follow Morgan.code. She's like, how amazing this woman is. Just gangster, coder, and developer. And then if you haven't yet, also follow me, personal shill. Okay, next thing. Into the technicals of Ethereum today. I think this is extremely important. And then we will kind of define a little bit more on the front end of the Ethereum futures, because again, what I didn't recognize up until just this moment was that this is options as well. And when you have options trading, this is literally how you ensure protection for your account on $100 million plus plays effectively. So this is designed for the big boys, right? So the big boys know how to do a lot of things that you as a retail probably don't understand yet. And we'll get there. We're explaining some of that. We've gone over leverage, and options is an extremely important way because it's a volatility through time contract, which means that the price of the asset can move up and down infinitely. And then for that period of time, if you take out an out of the money put or an out of the money call and you get it right, you can make enormous upside. So you can cover a $100 million account with only $100,000. You might lose that $100,000 6 months from now, but if your spot position is doing great, you'd be like, well, I don't care. That was basically insurance. Options, the simplest way to explain it is you're buying insurance and you're covering your account by using these exotic derivatives. Futures can do the same, although the fact that they're offering CME options contracts is extremely amazing. So again, efficient ether risk exposure, easily express a view or manage a price risk exposure rapidly through the growing cryptocurrency, a regulated exchange, enjoy the price discovery of transparent futures where all participants see the same prices and quotes, settles to the regulated CMF ether dollar reference rate, but with pricing data provided by the major cryptocurrency exchanges, and save on potential margin offsets with CME futures, and add the efficiency of futures contracts. So if you guys want to learn more about how these futures contracts work, you can go to cme.group/trading/ether-futures.com. I will post that hopefully in the links below later in this video. Again, understand that these are fairly advanced exotic services that are basically designed for big funds that are managing hundreds of millions of dollars in risk, and they don't mind throwing $100,000 straight into the garbage to protect those accounts. It's actually brilliant to do so. So you're going to need to understand how that works. And then secondarily, with where we are in the market, it's going to be bullish. So it was really beautiful to see this play out this morning. Yesterday when we were up here, like, yeah, we're going to 1,530, tagged that perfectly. I do believe we're about to see our first automatic rally. We'll probably get stuck around 1,700. We'll come down here, bounce around for support. We may even see a quick spring. And the automatic rally might actually lead right into tomorrow, which will be the opening day of futures. So people are like, oh my God, look, it went up. Yeah, well, it's just, you know what it's doing? It's just building another final reaccumulation range before it melts faces. I don't like to get too emotional about it. I'm not like, oh, I'm super bullish on Ethereum right now. No, I've been super bullish on Ethereum since $380. If you go back and watch our educational videos, you'll be able to see exactly why that's the case. And you'll understand one important thing, that the disease and the sickness of the average new investor comes from lack of education and over-emotional trading. And the way to create and cure that is by creating and focusing on a healthy environment for your own education and understanding of these markets. So do you consider yourself adventurous, and do you like learning new things? And if so, go to the links arcanebear.com/private down below and join a private group where hundreds and hundreds, what are we at? So almost 600 private members right now are constantly working and helping one another. One of the most unique aspects about the private group is that I'm like the welcoming bear and the bouncer bear. I try to hold you guys accountable. I don't bring up conjecture. If you have something you think might be coming and being part of the future, I'm like, great, share a chart, show us. Our peers will help review your work so you can really build that confidence that you need to become a better trader, better investor, and manage your own portfolio as you move forward. Okay, so I'll take a quick look at Bitcoin. Again, I think that you're going to see, I personally, I have not changed this sentiment for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Like I said, we're going to see a run into $40,000. I said that back when we were here at around 30,000. We're going to see a run into 40, hit that perfectly. Maybe I thought we'd hit 42 at the top of the resistance. And then I think we'll come down to around 34,000, 33,900. And then we're just going to absolutely explode somewhere out closer to March where this green date is. So pretty simple market whispering here, guys. One of the most unique aspects is I will never be like, oh, I predicted or called the market there. What I do is I watch the supply and demand characteristics. So let's take a closer look at some of this here because it's extremely important. We've gone over this with Ethereum too. And in the Wyckoff trading method, what we're doing is looking at the primary structure of the accumulation ranges followed by the volume signatures. So as you can see down at the bottom, you have all the supply signatures, and what you have is a decreasing supply signature. So stupid Binance made a post this morning where they're horribly wrong. They don't know, and they're again, this is how stupid it gets, is that Binance doesn't have a clue what they're talking about, and they post the exact wrong data. Someone tagged me in this, probably because they knew I would. I've talked about how ridiculous this is multiple times, and the fact that they just get it wrong. So Binance posted this, and this is wrong. When you're looking at volume go up and price go up, that's not a bullish signal. That's a bearish signal. First off, you want volume and supply to be decreasing and price to be rising. That is a bullish signal. I don't know how these fuckers got that wrong. I think they have children working at their education center because they don't understand the first thing about supply and demand characteristics. Okay, who cares? First thing, don't read any of Binance's educational material. It's wrong. And this is why it's wrong. What you want to see is rising price on diminishing supply. And this is very, very clearly seen in the things that we go over when we talk about the diminishing open market liquid supply in things like Bitcoin and Ethereum. And just very quickly, if we look at Bitcoin's liquid supply change, it's been decreasing. And that's what you want to see. You want to see a decrease in the liquid supply, and therefore you would want to see a decrease in the overall supply coming into the market as the price is going up. It seems pretty simple. Somehow they got that wrong. Anyways, again, this is why it's so important to curate a positive, healthy study environment where people actually know what they're doing to some degree or another. Because it's very easy to make shit up and then be totally wrong. I've spent 10 years studying the markets to get to a point where I feel somewhat confident about what I'm saying, and I can go, hey, look, they're actually wrong. Don't listen to them, or do whatever you think is best. If you just want, but I don't suggest it. Anyways, that's a different point. So the point of this whole idea here right now is to create a healthy environment for your guys' education. That's why I show up daily. I try to remain as calm as possible, even though I get excited about ridiculous things like Dogecoin right now. I think it's ridiculous and funny. But more importantly, understanding the markets is like probably the clearest fundamental lesson. Because if you're a new investor, you want to start thinking 5 or 10 years into the future. Again, it's taken me a long time to get to the point where I can break down a chart in seconds or minutes. So please understand that just like an instrument, it takes years to get to mastery, and none of us expect that you're going to get there overnight. So be patient with yourself, be kind, and most importantly, understand that you're already successful as an investor by showing up. Most people never show up, and they never invest, and they never further their education. So you're already making huge steps towards a better, clearer financial future for yourself. So give yourself a round of applause for everyone in the live chat and everyone that watches these videos, because you've made great steps to securing your financial future. Okay, last things we're going to go over. Link also in its final stages of its backup. We did hit the bottom here one more time of our rising channel. Awesome. I was looking for that target. We wicked down here into the point of control. Also looks very nice. Cardano, it looks like it's forming its secondary backup phase. So what I think is really fun here is if you do a retrospective analysis and you study what happened to Bitcoin, and both Aave and Cardano are doing this too. So primarily look at this breakout, and this is what I think Ethereum is about to get into. Horizontal trading range. Here's your backup phase with a rising gradient bottom through the backup, signified by what some people would call a rising wedge, although just ignore those pattern traders. And then focus again on what Cardano did. Well, here's your rising rising gradient bottom with a rising gradient on the backup, and then this explosive move. So I actually think that this is going to become primary support for a much bigger jump, maybe upwards of $1 effectively. And you can see how Aave did this as well. I think Aave is just a step further than Cardano, where you had the backup phase, the breakout, and then you're creating a primary support level. And we probably go upwards of $800, maybe even upwards of $1,000, like something like this. Let's say $850, just as a rough example of that breakout. And see the similarities again, where here with Bitcoin, you had the first big shakeout experience before you had a much bigger move up, and then again, a creation of a much larger accumulation pattern. I think that what you're going to witness is as Bitcoin takes its sweet time to finalize this accumulation pattern, that's when the rest of these digital assets like Cardano, like Aave, are going to get a lot of room to breathe, probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then once Bitcoin starts to run, you're going to see a massive amount of volatility in them as they form a much larger reaccumulation pattern. Because I think we're about 5/12 the way through this bull market, or approximately 46.8% through the bull market. So it's extremely important, again, when you're doing these study guides, to be constantly focused on being patient, because I've spent a lot of time getting here. So don't get down on yourself if you're not getting it right away. Understand that overcoming these accomplishments over the decade will pay off enormously for you. So that's the first part of today's episode. The second part of these episodes, because they are live streams, we do like to dive in and take a look at all the thoughts and questions you guys are having. Doge, I'm just going to say that's ridiculous again. And for those of you that want to hear more of my thoughts on it, A, we'll do a video tomorrow. But B, also remember to go to Instagram, follow Morgan.codes and myself, Arcane Bear, because we're going to do a live stream on her Instagram. Because again, she's a software developer. She's much smarter than I am about development. But I'm I'm a philosophical investor. So I think we're going to have a really great conversation about the comparison analysis between these two. Because I think Doge is a really important topic, even though I don't think the tech is valuable. More importantly, Avalanche, ladies and gentlemen, I'll go over here one time. So for those of you that have been following the Bear Den, you'll know I've been screaming about buying Avalanche for months now, and it just ran up to $22. And look at this nice parabolic movement you got. Oh, that's so sexy. That's so sexy when those things happen. So congratulations to everyone in the private group that listened to our tech team and went in on Avalanche. That was an absolutely sweet play. We've been in there for a while now. I'm not closing this position. As a matter of fact, I'm going to leave my Avalanche like spot longs probably for the next 5 years, because I believe the only true competitor for Ethereum at this moment is probably Avalanche and Cardano. So keep that in mind. Those are the two I think that could definitely drop in there. So now we're going to take a look at the private group thoughts, and we'll go from there. So Jeff Snyder says, thanks for all you do. Here's $50. Awesome. And for those of you that are interested in the Kiva campaign, I've got a private call booked with Eric, the guy who donated or contributed like $2,000 in super chats the other day. So we're going to wait for him, because I want to make sure we make contributions to the Kiva campaigns that he's interested in. I think it's a beautiful collaboration between myself and him. And because he was such a huge contributor to those chats, I'm going to wait till we have that conversation, which is Monday. So we'll probably do the campaigns where we've got around $2,000 to give to Kiva, a nonprofit organization that helps underbanked, underserved entrepreneurs around the world. So we'll do that on Monday. Okay, back to this. So I'll take a look at a few of your guys' questions before we move on further. Tio, $50, let's go to Kiva. Condre, you're not even the person who donated that $50. You can't do that. It's not how this game works. If you want to give money to the super chats, and more importantly, it's actually probably better that we go a different route and not use super chats. If you wanted to go to the Kiva campaign, we'll work on that. It's probably much better to make direct contributions to either PayPal or just to go to arcanebear.com/Kiva and sign up for Kiva yourself and make those contributions, because YouTube dings us quite a bit for the super chats. I do freaking love Avalanche. That's true. When my tech team says something and they sound like schoolgirls about it, I go, oh, wow, you're so excited about this. I'm excited about it too, because I don't know shit about tech, but they do. So I just trust them. I've been screaming about Avalanche day on day on day for the last 2 months, and I think there's a clear reason for that now. Tech team is crushing the game. Yeah, you're totally right. GRT is looking great. Ave, what do you think about CBDC? Yeah, just another brick in the wall for the bank's failures. Arcane Bear, Dave the Wave has a chart where he shows Bitcoin could correct around 20K. I don't know who Dave the Wave is, and anyone can draw a chart and say it could do anything. So I try to ignore most people. I actually don't listen to anyone really about this stuff, because they've almost all been wrong, and it'd be a waste of my time. So I ignore them and I focus on what I'm good at. If I see a change in sentiment, we have made conjecture that we could see a quick spring, but even still, I don't think we would go lower than $25,000 in that spring. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Again, I think we're actually going to get stuck up around 34,000, breakout, and then quickly ripped to $60,000. And again, I've held this conjecture since way back here in January, 12th of January. I haven't changed my sentiment at all. Dave the Wave has probably made 100 different charts saying 100 different things, so I just ignore those people because they don't have a clue. That's my opinion, at least. It may not be true, so it's not a defamation. I don't know. That's my fucking opinion. I agree with Avalanche. What about DOT? Interesting. Again, I would add that into my venture capital bag, which effectively says could be worth nothing, could be worth a lot more. So a small amount of money over the next 5 years might yield great results. Tio equals Nostradamus. Would you review the way and the why you feel about the real bull market? Is it going to happen in March based on the Wyckoff? The reason why we talk about March as an important date is to understand the psychology behind people. So March is an important date is because winter's ending, the sun starts to come out, girls start to wear beautiful freaking bikinis everywhere, and investor sentiment goes up. That's like kind of like a clear, plain Jane explanation for why I'm interested in March for that as well. Condre Silva, I'm on the Kiva team. I was just cheering. All love. Oh, Condre, I love you too. Thank you. I get kind of snarky sometimes just because I have a fiery tongue. You know, guys, I want to explain this too. For those of you that are new to the Bear family, I like giving people a little bit of shit because when I was buying Bitcoin at $200, nobody believed what I was saying. Right. So I had to be kind of a confident, little bit of an arrogant asshole for me to continue to do what I was interested in doing without getting pushed around in the waves by other people's sentiments and what they believed. So I have a little bit of an arrogant side just because that confidence is allowed to keep me successful, because then when other people don't believe in what it is I believe in, I keep doing it anyways. So that's where that comes from, in case anyone cared. I have matches for you on Kiva. Thank you, Condre. I appreciate that. If you haven't, Condre, message me at info@arcanebear.com. I would love to chat with you. Or are you in the private group? Let me know. We'll go from there. What do you think of Ren chart? I'm not quite sure yet. CME futures or Ethereum launches at 6 p.m. today. We'll tell you what, Jonathan Rorlick, we will go live at 6 p.m. today. I'm going to go drink a margarita with a 260 degree of the ocean as the sun sets. And after that, I will go live and we'll take a look at the prices as it happens. Avalanche is a great CEO. I love, again, my tech team just rants and raves about Avalanche. So I just trust them now because they're smarter than I am. How long have you been trading? How long are you in trading? That's a funny way to say it. The first time I bought Bitcoin was at $90. That was a utilitarian move. The second time I bought it again was around 900, 700. I forget exactly because it was Canadian dollars, not US. And now everyone talks about US dollars, so I would have to double check on that. But point of this, I actually had been investing in stocks before that. I had been playing with options. Again, these more volatile, exotic ways to play time through, or volatility through time bets, and use the small plays every month. And then when you got it right, eventually you'd make a bunch of money, but you get it wrong most of the time. And if you want to know how options works, I definitely suggest studying Nassim Taleb's work. So that's almost about 10 years now. The first CBD stocks or pot stocks I bought in Canada, I think were in 2006, 7, when weeds first started becoming legal in Canada. So before Bitcoin, technically. Hey, Tio, I really appreciate what you do. Ramp DeFi looks early stages of Wyckoff pattern. I'm just learning and appreciate your thoughts. Definitely, guys, this last part of the chat, I don't try to go over too many charts because I just try to make quick conjecture over your guys' thoughts. If you drop super chats, I will definitely am incentivized to go over each of those. But when I'm going through the chat, I'm just kind of scrolling and answering thoughts. VBTV says, I just joined the private group last night, and I'm excited to join the journey. I've been studying Elliott Wave and Fib levels. Does Wyckoff complement Elliott Wave? I try to ignore every other style of trading. Again, guys, one of my big focuses here is to remove noise, because effectively you get a much clearer image when you get rid of the other things that might get into the way of the sentiment that you're trying to make a conclusion on. So because of that, if the light goes imagine if every day you showed up, the light, like it was just slightly different green. I could confuse you about what the market was doing because you have like 80 different colors before it's like kind of like what, maybe it's like a white color and then it goes yellow. Like, where are we in the market? It's just way clear. It's like, hey, it's green or it's red. That's it. That's all I want to know. Is it green or is it red? And that macro perspective is so much clearer. We're still green, by the way. So I try to remove a lot of the noise and other pattern trades. I have studied Elliott Wave. I do use Fibonacci, especially for extensions once we start the bull market, but never before that, because it's almost useless data for me before the bull market starts. Once the bull market starts, I use it for take profit targets. Currently for Ethereum, that's anywhere between $8,000 and $12,000, and for Bitcoin, that's like $200,000 to $380,000. We've gone over that in previous videos. Did I miss Ethereum? Yes, I did. That's at the very beginning of this video. Please go double check on that one. Can't wait for my first face melt investment. Yeah, be patient, guys. Again, investor strategy should take years. You should be focused on decades, not days, not weeks, not months, not years, decades. That's literally how you create wealth for yourself. So even though you can get lucky and you can make like a 6 or 7 figure trade sometimes by accident, that's not the normal. So don't rely on that. If you think in decades, you'll be a lot more patient with yourself. And because of that, you'll end up being a lot more, you'll be long-term successful, which is not luck. It's on purpose. You are so informative. Thank you. I appreciate that, Daniel. I love all your guys' support. Awesome. Great. Lots of new comments today. Are you a vegetarian? I'm mostly a vegetarian, although every now and then I love cooking steak on the open fire pit is one of my favorite things. Tio, can you recommend some beginner books on the Wyckoff method? You can find tons of stuff for free on the internet, guys. Just go type Wyckoff, Richard Wyckoff, and you'll find tons of stuff. Richard Wyckoff wrote many books himself, but the books I would recommend are Reminiscence of a Stock Operator. The book's 100 years old almost, and it's still one of the most often recommended books. Anyone who's not read that book and is in the markets, I don't know if they're actually in the markets. Important there, yeah, to understand. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave it at that for today's episode. Oh, and Pink Summer. You know what, Pink Summer? You've been such a sweetheart. She says, I love your personality and your channel. You always leave such thoughtful comments, Pink Summer. Guys, I'm really sorry that I haven't been able to respond to as many of your guys' comments. It's just, there's so much stuff to do right now, and the private group is taking up most of my time, and I just don't have the time. So Pink Summer, I apologize that I haven't responded to all of your great comments and thoughts. You put a lot of energy into it. So thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. We'll go from there. This is Tio with the Arcane Bear. Thank you guys all for joining us. We will be live again, maybe tonight, just to try to follow that 6 p.m. futures Ethereum moment. Again, guys, give us that thumbs up. We're going to be doing a live stream every day for this year. So every day I'm going to show up and do a live stream. So make sure you subscribe and hit that little bell button that every time we go live, you guys will be notified. At the end of these episodes, a lot of you guys like that I play a little bit of music. And that's I really appreciate that. I don't know what I'm going to play today or if I should. Maybe I'll just wait till later. I want to go out for lunch right now. And again, I appreciate all your guys' support. We'll see you on the episode. Maybe we'll do another one again tonight. I'd love to see that there's over 700 of you on the live stream. I wish I could stay a little longer. Actually, you know what? What time is it? 3:34. Tell you what, guys, I'm just going to chill around here for another 25 minutes, and we'll take a look at charts just for fun, because there's 700 of you online right now. So we'll just chill out for a few more minutes and take a look at some of your charts. So you guys had asked about Ren. I'll give you a little bit more of my time here. Okay, well, Ren broke out of its box. It looks like it's could be forming a nice widening megaphone pattern here. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Again, Ren kind of wraps Bitcoin, so there could be something valuable here. I do like this as a DeFi project. It's kind of right out of the, yeah, Ren could be, I'm ultimately bullish on Ren. I'm ultimately bullish on the DeFi sector in general. You can see we've had a reaccumulation after decline for those of you that studied. So keep that in mind. Yeah, I'll play the flute tonight for you guys. I appreciate that. Hit that like button. Injective protocol. Yeah, Pink. Well, we'll definitely look at INJ for you because you dropped a nice super chat there. Okay, INJ. Wow, look at that. Great play, Pink. I know you were loving INJ. And I look at this. Let's see here. From November to today, boom, 1,700%. Way to go, Pink. You were a big fan of this one. They're doing futures in DEX, I believe. So keep that in mind. Looks fantastic. Johnny Appleseed, good to see you. What I really like about Pink, that's a few things I like about Pink, I'm sure, but that's a different conversation. What I like about this Pink is that it looks like there's a widening megaphone structure here. So if we start to see a horizontal trading range take place here, and more importantly, a break above that trading range and the structure itself, this is when these things start to go absolutely hyperbolic. So we've gone over this a few times before from one of our favorite case studies, Jesse Livermore. Jesse Livermore pattern. So this is the Jesse Livermore pattern. Whoops. So it's a widening megaphone pattern. You can find it in a few different areas. It doesn't always hit like 7 times. Just similarities here that we're looking for. And we've gone over this in the past too, where you can see what that did to Ethereum. So let's just open up another one of these here. And actually, we could make conjecture that maybe you're witnessing that on Aave too, but let's just focus on where we know it happened. I think it was Ethereum versus BUSD. I charted that one. Yeah, okay. So here's the widening megaphone pattern on Ethereum. We drew this back up in August, September. You can go back on our videos and watch this. I'm very, very excited about this. So these types of bullish momentum plays where you start to break out of the box are huge. We also see this taking place in the DeFi perpetuals, where we've had this widening megaphone pattern and a break outside of that megaphone effectively. This is where things start to get hyper bullish because they've basically gone totally past any supply marker. So we look like we're in the final stages of that movement for the whole DeFi sector, guys. So this is one of the other reasons why I believe Bitcoin is going to kind of keep cooling off here into this downwards $33,000 area. Is because we were starting to break above here on the entire DeFi perp, and I think it's just going to go. So yeah, it looks like INJ might do the same thing. So what you'll want to do, Pink, is keep a close eye on this horizontal pattern, or this rising pattern. Boom, just like that. Very easy way to go. Hey, Clinton Canduth, I recognize that name. Greetings from Kelowna. The first time I've seen you in your channel. Just got my feet wet with crypto. I've known Clinton. So I dropped out of school in grade 10, but Clinton went to the same school as I did back when I lived in Canada there. So good to see you, Clinton. Hope you're doing well, and welcome to the crypto sector. Awesome, guys. 666 live people. The mark of the perfect 5th. That's always a fun one. Take a look at a few more of your guys' thoughts. What did I miss about ETH? Just rewind the channel and rewind today's video. We went over that. And more importantly, I'm going to go live again tonight, I think, just to do one more talk about the Ethereum futures. I think it's a really important conversation. And people need to understand how futures and options work. We're probably going to create educational videos around that for the private group because it's a very good way to protect your portfolio, especially when we start to get up high. Like high. We're not up high yet. We're pretty up high, but we can get a lot higher. Trust me. I've eaten a lot of mushrooms in my day. We can get higher than this. No, I'm just messing around with you guys. But yeah, there's a lot further away we can go right now. The Garden Prophet says, right now, people is the time to buy and be patient. Can you wait a month to double your money? Yeah, we're still in accumulation in my mind. I think we're 5/12ths the way through this bull market, so we got a little bit further to go. Does it look like ETH is on the way up or down? Break it down further? Yeah, Max, go back and watch all of my videos. You'll really appreciate it. And more importantly, remember, guys, the disease of the early investor is exactly what Max is going through right now, and it's lack of education and emotional investing and trading, which is going to do you horribly. And the way to create a healthy environment is by joining the private group. So if you consider yourself adventurous, go to arcanebear.com/private and join the private group. One of the reasons why it's so important is because there's a lot of YouTube shillers out there that try to sell you leverage, and you're just going to lose money. If you're new to investing, you shouldn't be touching leverage at all. It's foolish. You're just going to lose money. And in a bull market, it's fucking easy to make money right now. So don't do that. Anyways, okay, that was it. That's the extra few minutes you guys got from me today. It's Teal with the Arcane Bear. I love you, and I will see you on the other side.